Incredible flavours, even better stories. One pour, 10 minutes. Aussie Bourbon Lovers, sharing bourbon with Australia.
Oh, that's such a good court pop. I'm so excited, H. We got James Summerlin back from the Mount Pleasant Whiskey Club project with the Fernhill Station bottle. It's a single cask straight bourbon whiskey, which is coming out of DC. We spoke about this a little while ago. Such a cool project that we've got. What is probably the first Aussie, truly Aussie,
it's like
but
an Aussie
still
bourbon.
Absolutely a bourbon.
But it's a bourbon, but it's like an Aussie bourbon.
Very kind of fascinating that we're able to kind of like get to this. So congratulations on the project, James. So good.
Thank you.
Last time we spoke a lot about the dram itself, but we didn't talk too much about the story, which is just a cracker. Tell us, how did this project come to be? What happened that led you to the point of having this delicious bourbon in our glass?
So my wife and I obviously have a house. It's our biggest asset. And a long time ago, she thought, well, how do we get the most out of this? Well, let's swap houses on holidays. So she joined a website called People Like Us, and we wanted to go to DC. I've always wanted to go to DC.
Yeah.
And she found a swap. So Troy and his partner, Tony, they wanted to come to Australia. We hooked it up. We're about to fly out, and Tony messages to say, hi, I've realised James owns a bar. Well, Troy has a bourbon business. So he's left you some samples. And we got there. I arrived in DC, like 36 hours.
Yeah, it's a long flight.
Wow, we went the long way as well.
Yep.
And then I tasted it. I'd never been into it. And I tasted this and I thought, hang on, just throw the Scotch whiskies out.
I can relate.
And that was it. And we spent time in Mount Pleasant. I guess why this exists, Mount Pleasant Club Whiskey, is it's made through Troy and John's company called Reboot Beverages. And they basically took the old label of Mount Pleasant, because they actually found a bottle in the house during a renovation.
Oh,
an
wow.
old bottle from pre-Prohibition.
That's incredible.
And you can actually see it on the book.
There you go.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And they thought, let's bring this back, right? So they selected their barrels and they brought it back. They called it Mount Pleasant Club Whiskey. They've honoured all the streets of their suburb. And what was important, well, it's actually quite fun. We got locked out of their house one day.
Oh, no.
We came back, the electric door wasn't working. We're trying to contact them in Australia.
Different time zones.
Yes. We waited in the park a while.
Yeah.
But it was no stress. And eventually they said, we're going to send John, who's my business partner in Reboot. He'll come around and help get you in, which was, break the window. And it was just chatting to him once we got in. We had a quick beer together, little bourbon. And I just said, why don't I have this in Australia? Like, why am I... And there's a price point, right? Like, I look at your top level of your Jim Beams or your Wild Turkeys. In the gifting range, in the restaurant range, you kind of start cap out at 140 a bottle, 150. But then you want to go and find something else really special. You got to jump a long way to kind of $600.
There's big
$800.
price tags.
Right. And I thought we need a premium product in Australia, independent craft. And I thought, well, let's do it.
Yes.
So good.
I'll go and get a license. I filled out the paperwork.
Because even when you do the house swap, so you have a little bar in Sydney and in Helston Park, and he had an already existing bourbon business. But then there's so many more kind of themes that kind of run through this kind of story, because they love celebrating the local streets. That's how they name their whiskies. And you, as such a locally focused venue at HP Bolo.
Yeah, we live in Helston Park. We have our business in Hurlston Park. My business partner, who I went to school with, he owns the cafe next door. He lives in Hurlston Park. We went to Hurlston Ag High School
Yeah. Yeah.
in Western Sydney. So we love the community. And I thought, well, let's celebrate Hurlston Park. Dmitry is a Ukrainian artist who came to Australia 20, 30 years ago. And he got us the artwork for it.
Stunning artwork.
that's
It's
the
a
old
beautiful
station.
bottle too. I love the wide sides
Yeah.
and the New South Wales and DC flag on the tag.
The fun of it was selecting everything.
Yeah.
Do you want a wood top? What colour foil do you want?
Yeah, all the little details.
Right, like writing the story, selecting the artwork, scaling the artwork, what to call it,
Yeah.
pick a name. So
And who
it
got
was
the
a lot of
final
fun.
say of the liquid that went in the bottle?
I picked the barrel.
Yep.
Yeah, through 6 samples that got sent here. We selected one blind. We all agreed on the same one. Then they sent me more samples of that barrel. We cut it down, different ABVs, selected blind, the same one, 50.7. So they were all decisions we had to go through, and it was time. It was little samples turning up in the mail.
Yeah.
Called olive oil.
Love it.
Yeah, well, you could just certainly confuse it for olive oil until you put it in a glass. Actually, speaking of that, the more it's more time this spends in a glass, getting a bit of air on it. I'm getting these lovely Christmas spicy notes, a bit of like almost Christmas puddingy kind of notes from it. But before we started recording, you told us that you got some interesting notes the more you kind of sit with it that link back to when you were a bit younger.
Yeah, well, smell is your strongest sense. And I was sitting down one night and, hang on, shearing shed. But
Yes.
the memory was shearing shed, but the oil was lanolin.
Yeah. It's that oiliness that it gives it that really smooth finish.
Beautiful, smooth finish.
And it's got quite a bit of hard red winter wheat. So Maker's Mark bang on about their soft red winter wheat, but this is a hard red winter wheat, so a different variety of that. And I agree with you that there is a lovely bit of wheatiness that comes through both on the nose and then on the palate as well.
I feel like it's a cross between. It's like my farm where I grew up was sheep and wheat, and I feel like it's this in a glass.
And since you've said the lanolin thing, now all I can think about is what it smells like at your family farm. Now you've said this, it's going to stick with me.
There's a very earthy, warming. I think of this as a big hug.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
just
when
love the
first
beautiful
tasted-
smooth finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I got from their first bottle I tasted, the Brown Street Bourbon, my all-time favourite still. This is a very similar blend in the mash, 4 grains, some different percentages. But when they gave me this one, I was like, this is it.
This is a good one.
This was the winner.
Tell us,
Well, you
'cause
picked a good one.
as you know, the three of us love bourbon. We're all Aussies. We talk about this idea of what the Australian attitude towards bourbon is, and we've spoken about this a little bit earlier about that idea of there's a bit of a Scotch focus and all that kind of thing. And because you're at HP Bolo and you kind of see all the what people are buying and how people are drinking things, what do you think the attitude? Do you think there is a shift towards bourbon in Australia with the Aussie drinkers?
There's a shift broadly towards quality. So it doesn't matter what you're drinking. People want experiences. They want quality drink.
Yep.
They want to enjoy 2 or 3, not 10.
Yeah.
When I wrote my paper to get my license, I said, I want people to drink less, but drink better. I've changed. Well, the reason I never was a bourbon drinker was because I grew up in the old bourbon and Coke days.
Yeah.
That was it.
I was a Johnny Walker and Coke growing up.
Yeah, I was bourbon and Coke for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was just a put off for me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until recently my mate brought back a bottle from Texas and he forced it on me one night. It was but I thought, hang on, this is not bourbon. This is not what I remember. So there's good stuff out there. Let me go and find it. But our bar, we focus on independent craft. We don't do Diageo, the big ones. So I had to find it, and then it was fortuitous. It was just a house swap.
It's an incredible story.
The house swap, the website is called People Like Us.
I love it.
Ridiculous.
People like us.
That it's
Like literally.
you're like some kind of an ad for them, mate. Well done. Well, hey, thanks so much for bringing, quality bourbon that we can enjoy in the right quantities. And there are limited quantities, 132 bottles. Where can people get their hands on them?
It's released on the 10th of July at the bar, and I'm going to have it in the local bottle shop. But I want to push most of it into restaurants and high-end bars, hotel lobby bars like your Intercontinental, Capella.
Yeah.
I want them to have a better offering. It's going to retail around about $265 a bottle. On the launch night, $245 a bottle. But I don't have a retail license, so I can only sell wholesale.
Yep.
So it's not publicly available, but the local bottle shop will carry it.
Yep.
And
Liquor Emporium.
Great. Quick trip to Sydney.
Yeah, quick trip to Sydney. Head out to Helston Park. Head over to HP Bowler. I'm pretty sure there'll be something behind the bar for you to try.
It will be behind the bar.
And
Highly
what we think
recommend.
is probably the first Australian labelled bourbon that's truly Australian labelled, not just a barrel pick. So, mate, congratulations on the project. Thanks for coming on to join us and tell us the super cool story of Fernhill Station. And for everyone who can get their hands on it, good luck to you, because it's a
Maybe
cracker.
the first of many.
Indeed. Absolutely, yeah. Tell us about the next project. We want to hear about that one too.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, James.
Thanks.
Cheers.
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 Thanks for listening. Make sure you're connected with us on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and stay connected with us by clicking subscribe on your favourite podcast app.